Mouta Massi, bringing you the latest happenings in dancehall and reggae music.
Welcome, it's Mouta Massi, and here are the stories making the cut for today. Massive, big news. Mavado and Vybz Cartel will be performing together on the same stage in Jamaica for the first time in almost 20 years. Massive. Reggae Sumfest responsible for this massive July 18, 2026. I'm excited. What about you guys? On a think them go come and let peace reign, or on a think them go pick up where they left off back in 2008? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Nationwide News understands that Dacia Forrester, the woman burnt during a fight with another woman at a gas station in Whithorn, Westmoreland, has died. It's understood that she died Thursday night while undergoing treatment at hospital. Forrester suffered third-degree burns over 70% of her body and has been in hospital since the incident, which took place on Thursday, February 19. This is some sad news indeed. Let's learn to avoid conflict, walk away from confrontations, because in the end, no one wins. Persons are advising the other girl to lawyer up. Get a good lawyer. Boy, I must want to think about the situation. Let me know in the comment section below.
Where the young lady get burned a few days ago. I'm just here talking to a few people on the ground and hearing their story. However, I get to talk to one of the leaders at the gas station who gave me his version. And one of them is that this is something that happened or been happening since childhood. You know, there was a childhood fight some time ago where the gas station attendant, I don't want to call her name, was beaten up some time ago by the members of the family, including the lady that got burned. Now, after that happened many years ago, there was 3 altercations that happened here at the gas station, where the management have to step in and basically locked up the pump attendant just to prevent, things not getting worse. So he had done that a couple of times. Unfortunately, he was not here this last time when it happened. He was not here when it happened the last time. So what happened on that day is that they're claiming that they came here and had some issue. They were actually warned not to come back to the gas station. But this time she came back to buy $500 gas. And but there were clear indication that there was not need for gas. It's just basically to attack her again, which she had done numerous times. And so I heard mention of a gas station, and I heard mention of a hardware. But the hardware that they're talking about is almost on the property. And there are other entrances. If you are going to the gas station, there are entrances down the street that you could have used. You don't have to go to the gas station, which is right here. Anyhow, I spoke to a couple of people. Right across the street is where the police station is. The police station is right over there. That's what we're looking at. So, when I spoke to everybody, all I can hear is that the instigator is actually the lady. They came with acid. I hear that from people on the ground here, that they came with acid and they came with knife. The knife was actually used to cut the lady in her face. And when she did the gas thingy, that's how the one that get burned with the gas was the one that had the acid.
Joel and Silvera has been sentenced. Massive. Check out these clips.
Made this statement to say that on the night of November 10th, 2023, a very unfortunate incident occurred, resulting in the death of my wife, Melissa Walter Silvera. Leading up to that event, there has been provocation from her ever since the death of my son, for which she continues to blame me. As per usual, to avoid confrontation, these confrontations vary from financial to taking responsibility for the conditions that we were living in, and she has a time where she explodes no matter when and where. She became very physical that particular night. These are ongoing things. So at times, when I see that this is going to blow out of proportion, I normally take refuge, thank you, at my sister's house to allow her temper to quell. On this particular night, the rhetoric began. She became more confrontational than normal, screaming, shouting, and even at times swinging her fist. So I decided that it was time to leave. So I reached for my gun, where it is normally kept, to holster it, and told her that I would be back tomorrow. She became increasingly angered and enraged, and lunged after me and grabbed at the gun, and then uttered the words to the effect that I was responsible for the death of our child, and made derogatory comments about my mother and the family. Although she had mentioned blaming me for the death of my son before that night, the way she said it and how, and the mention of my mom and my other family, her words and expletives that night really angered me in the moment. Melissa told me I must stop my sister, because every night I'm always going to my sister's house, and a sister can't do what a wife can do. She said that my mother was a selfish, and maybe I should go and fuck her too. These words provoked me, and her final comments were to fling the rest of the picnic them into the pool and kill them too. With all of these words, I lost control and fired. It was never my intention to do this. It was not premeditated, and it was not my intention to hurt or kill her that night. This having happened, I panicked and I left. In terms of count 2, we are at 20 years, 10 months, and that's the time for count 2. In respect of count 1, well, I'm just a trial judge. I am not at liberty to ignore the words of the parliamentarians, and they have indicated that there is a minimum and a maximum, and they have indicated that the minimum is 20 years, maximum is 25. So again, a guilty plea is of inherent value, whether it shows remorse or not. At least that's my view. And so I can't go below what Parliament has said. I know Mr. Champagne has referred me to the decision from the Privy Council, but they are the Privy Council. So I think that it would be improper of me to do that, not because council is inherently wrong, but I think it is something that deserves full argument, that all the circumstances surrounding the legislation and so on, and all the relevant case law has been examined. It's very difficult to do that in the context of sentencing, and unless it's a clear authority from our Court of Appeal or the Privy Council to that effect. So on respect of count 1, sir, sentence is 20 years at a minimum. So the other principle of sentencing is that sentences arising out of offenses arising out of the same factual circumstances are to run concurrently unless there is some good reason not to do so. There is no good reason not to do so in this case. So both offenses, sentences on both offenses, count 1 and count 2, are to run concurrently. So it's 20 years on count 1, 20 years, 10 months on count 2.
I'm sure many of you might have heard by now about the tragedy that took place at Ocherias High School, where one student used one iron chair and hit the other one, killing him. Sad and crazy, right? I saw this clip with the dad. He recalls his final talk with his deceased son. Check out this clip.
Wow. Tell me about your son, sir.
One of the best. One of the best. The problem, I just see man in phone, game, school, that of him. Me him talk to me, say, boy, deal for you. I like to put me and some guys say, I talk to my daddy, tell me let's school, you know. What a good job you have here, my mother and my sister, you know. Take me out of the country and tell me I light. Jesus Christ.
What was the relationship with you and him like?
Best. 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 I don't know if I tell you about my best. I'm looking for my partner, I tell you. I love all of my kids, but boy, this one I come like, I'm life.
So,
Quiet.
tell me how you
Silent.
heard about the...
I work with them. The power up on my scaffold, I work and me call me and tell me in the hospital, I jump up on the scaffold. Jump up on the scaffold. And I come here and tell me, say, boy, I call the teacher, she tell me that they can't tell me what happen. I have to come up at school and to the hospital, and that me say, I'm dead in the hospital. Dead. Oh, God. Oh, my Father. Oh, God.
Boy, I'm sure as a parent, that's one of our worst nightmares. We send out to picnic at school and he not come back, him dead. Send out prayers massive for all the family members and friends. Health Minister Christopher Tufton says the government is not sitting down and not doing anything as it moves to address gaps in the public health system following Jamaica's decision to end its medical cooperation program with Cuba.
I realize that there has been a termination of the program by attrition over the last few years, where contracts were not renewed and Cuban doctors and nurses who went back were never replaced. I don't know if it was understood that we would have reached this point, but have you done a gap analysis to say what are the needs right now? I think you have just under 300 doctors, nurses, biomedical engineers. I'm particularly concerned about the Cuban eye care program, which does more cataract surgery, I believe, than all public hospitals combined island-wide, and is the main source of eye care for Jamaicans who can't afford to go privately and pay the $500,000 for a cataract surgery. What are your plans for filling the gaps in the underserved areas, the community centers, the hospitals where no Jamaicans want to go for social reasons, and we fill them with Cubans? What is going to happen to staffing in those areas now?
Okay, so the first thing I want to say is that your opening statement is incorrect. The Cubans are still with us. We have over 280 approximately, and they're still at their post, still working, including the eye care program. So it's a little exaggeration to say that. We are coming from about just under 350, and the decline has started over the last maybe 6-8 months, based on the expiration of those work permits, based on the agreements we had originally for those persons. We have persons here who still have some time. I know what you're referencing. You're referencing the MOU with the Cuban government, which is a very different thing. And that has been the tradition, to negotiate an MOU, which then leads to the engagement of the Cuban healthcare workers. That negotiation, as said in a release today, has been in discussions without an agreement for just under a year. The last point was that the counter proposal or proposal is with the Cuban government. They have not responded over a few months, and the government took the decision not to renew on that basis, having had a series of conversations. However, we have said that the health workers who are here have an opportunity, if they so desire, to engage in individual contracts. So this is not a termination of the desired relationship that we have. It's not a recognition of anything beyond what we have said publicly, that it has been a valuable relationship, and we appreciate it, and it has helped the Jamaican people. And the offer is on the table for the workers who are here to have individual contracts, and that has been said publicly. The conversation continues. I don't know what will happen over the next week or 2 weeks, but suffice to say, the fluid nature of the conversation would not allow you or I to say that the Cubans have gone, because they have not. But there is a discussion taking place. Now, to the issue of the contingencies, even with the Cuban program, the truth is we have always had shortages because of migration and the expanded responsibility of the sick profile and limited training. So we have, over a number of years, been working to expand the cadre of workers, from retention of those we have by improving some of the conditions of work. A lot of it's still a work in progress. You mentioned a number of the capital projects, through compensation review, which gave a fairly substantial increase to a number of workers. And thirdly, through collaboration, through financing, through the Barwin Scholarship, where there are a number of persons studying in the system, with some graduating this year. Can't give the figures, but some of these graduates are going to now be integrated into the system, because the bonding arrangement of 3 years after the scholarship is in effect. And the Barwin Scholarship is a 5-year program, and we're now going into our 3rd year. And some of the persons who got scholarships were studying for less than a year, especially the specialists. So we can provide some further details on that, but that will also help. In addition to that, we have over 100 trainees in various areas of specialization in in-house training, and those will start coming on stream later on this year. I'm told about June or so, which is not too long from now. And then finally, we have sought to do some overseas recruitment. But I have to be fulsome in the response. We're working on some overseas recruitment. Now, the overseas recruitment has taken several forms. We are waiting and possibly should be in a position to sign an MOU with Ghana. Ghana has an excess of healthcare workers. The Ghanaian foreign minister was here 3 weeks ago, I think. That was spoken about publicly. And he did comment that unemployment levels in Ghana is higher, 16% or so. They have healthcare workers who need jobs, including specialists, and they have a similar system to ours. And we have been able to work out an MOU to get some of those workers in. We have an MOU with Nigeria. In fact, we got a few Nigerians recently. I think it was about 6 or so, including educators. And we are working on agreements with Philippines and India, where I visited recently. And then finally, as I said earlier, we had an ad in the paper for recruiting randomly, for targeting the diaspora, we had 136 expressions of interest, some extremely qualified. The point I'm making, member, is that we have a multi-pronged approach to dealing with the HR challenge. It is a challenge because healthcare workers globally are short, and any fallout from the Cuban agreement meaning persons going back as opposed to exercising the option to stay, will amplify that problem. And it's a risk, and we understand that, which is why all the other things have to be factored in and are being worked on simultaneously. And we will just have to make it work. And we're not just sitting down and not doing anything. We're doing a number of things.
Some persons want full transparency why we ended the program with Cuba. Some persons are saying Tufton can't run the healthcare industry. Well, what is he gonna do? Time will tell, massive. U.S. lawmaker who criticized Holness welcomes Jamaica ending Cuban medical program. United States Congressman Carlos A. Gimenez has praised Jamaica's decision to discontinue its medical cooperation program with Cuba, describing a long-running arrangement as a pathetic criminal human trafficking operation. In a tweet, he says, "In the U.S. Congress, we thank the people of Jamaica for ending this pathetic criminal human trafficking operation with the dictatorship in Cuba. Doctors were being trafficked, their wages garnished, and subject to inhumane conditions amounting to modern-day slavery." So Terra Fabulous, his manager, is speaking out. She says he was being taken advantage of for years and was receiving chicken feed for music he was doing. Check out this clip.
I wanted to, I have to thank Chin from Soundchat Radio and TV. I have got to thank Chin for using his platform to bring awareness to the injustices that have occurred with regard to Terra Fabulous. I've been involved with Terra Fabulous for several years now, in the capacity of management and just holistically overall. I'm actually a therapist, a mental health therapist, so I've been working closely with Terra, hence the progress that he has made thus far. Just feeling comfortable and less anxious about returning to the stage. We're taking it slow, and I believe that's the right path to go because, for 30 years, he has been battling something that no one understood. There were many rumors, and Terra never defended himself. He never, ever came out and, cussed anyone or, challenged anyone. And I think that's why the rumors were allowed to just continue to spread. Chin, I hold you in the highest regard because you could have jumped on the bandwagon and said derogatory things or made fun of him as well, and you did not. Instead, you shamed the people who are constantly using Terra and, knowingly using him and robbing him. I wanted to bring something to everyone's attention. Since approximately 2014, there's a so-called friend of Terra's who has been robbing him. He is literally just cashing his royalty checks and keeping it for himself, giving Terra maybe $100 out of a check that's thousands, and basically he just captured his salary, and he did it because he could. He knew that Terra was suffering and really truly did not understand the logistics involved, and he took advantage of it. Since I've been involved, of course, I've received quite the fight. People, they don't like the fact that I'm involved because, after all, if I'm involved, that's gonna cut off their cash flow, Well, too bad. Terra deserves more. He brought us some songs, some major tunes that made us feel good, It spread across the world. To this day, people are still singing his songs. You can remember, if you can remember, the first time you heard Action #2. gangster anthem, Ja Works, you know, No Retreat, No Surrender. You can just remember how it made you feel. It was a it's feel good music. And then, you know, when you really take a check, you realize that the artist was suffering in silence, but he continued to bring us such good music. When is it his turn? My answer to that is now. Okay? We're not going to let this continue to happen. It's over. It's over. I want to big up Bounty Killer. I want to big up Spragga Benz for showing up and making sure that you checked in on him and you're trying to figure out what does he need, what can I do. I have never, ever had the amount of help and concern from anyone like I've had from you guys, and I appreciate it so very much. Anyone who's a fan and who really rates Terra, I want to tell you thank you. Please keep him in your prayers. Please remain positive. And when people try to spread the negative narratives and derogatory statements, please shut them down. Terra is a kind guy. He has a very good soul and heart. And you believe me when I tell you, he doesn't trip off his fame or how many hits he has. He's in it truly for the love of the music. So I try to celebrate him each and every day and let him know how much he's loved and how much his fans love him and his brothers in music love him. All right? We're going to make this happen. And I want all of you to please rally around the artist, keep supporting him, listen to his music, and soon we will see him in the United States. That's where he needs to be again. You know, we want to see him on tour. Let's make this happen. I want to see Terra back with his brothers on stage like Louis Culture and Bounty and all of the guys, you know, that he used to perform with. He needs that. That's his element. Again, to the people that are scamming, go to hell. Go to hell. And there was a guy, I'm not going to give you too much highlight, but there's a guy who decided that it was cool to call and cuss me out because he lost his money, giving his money to somebody for dubs. No, excuse me, correction. Let me be correct. 45s. And, you know, I had nothing to do with the transaction. I wasn't made privy to the conversation, and I really didn't appreciate that. Always remember something, just because I'm a woman, it doesn't mean that you can just do whatever you want to me, all right? I fight with my brain. I don't need to use brawn, but if I need brawn, I have the backative for that too. Don't forget it, all right? I will not be intimidated. I'm not going anywhere. And the mission is the music and Terra Fabulous, all right? Terra deserves this. We're going to be steadfast, all right? He is a human being. He is not a machine. From this point forward, if you need bookings, you need 45s, you need dubs, we will make it happen. Me and Spragga Benz, we will make it happen. If you go around us and try to go to someone else and you don't get what you paid for, don't try to hold us accountable because you've been told, and that is it. All right?
Sad indeed. Wickedness. Oh my gosh. Watch how this taxi man and mash up this politician vehicle massive. I wonder what the politician do, but I guess the people them tired of them. Dancehall legend Rodney Bounty Killer Price is set to receive another notable honor recognizing both his cultural influence and decades of community advocacy. The artist, widely known as the Poor People Governor, will be presented with the General Impact Guardian of the Culture Award later this month for his long-standing commitment to uplifting disenfranchised communities and shaping Jamaica's musical legacy. The award will be presented during the Uplift the Community Benefit Concert, scheduled for March 29 in Seaview Gardens as a part of the Seaview Gardens Community Assistance Project. The event will include a free community day and health fair for residents, followed by benefit concerts aimed at raising funds for youth development initiatives in the area. According to event organizer Dwayne Hermit, the recognition reflects both Bounty Killer's musical impact and his real-world advocacy. Bounty Killer represents the spirit of the people. His music speaks truth, but more importantly, his actions have always reflected a commitment to uplifting the community, Hermit said. Big up Seaview Gardens for recognizing Bounty Killer's impact over the years. When you see the announcement, them say Kartel go perform down in Africa. Well, he made a public announcement. He says, "Let me be absolutely clear. Neither my management nor I have any knowledge of or involvement in any such tour. No East African shows have been announced or confirmed by my team. Any individual promoters or platforms claiming to be booking or advertising these shows are acting without authorization and are misleading the public. Fans, promoters, and venues are strongly advised not to engage with or send money to anyone making such claims, as these may be scams. For the avoidance of doubt, all official announcements regarding Vybz Kartel appearances and tours will come directly from my verified platforms or from my authorized representatives only. As a reminder, the only individuals authorized to speak or act on my behalf are my manager, Linton T.J. White, and my attorney, Jason Mitchell. Anyone falsely using my name to promote unauthorized events will be dealt with accordingly. Adija Vybz Kartel Palmer." So that's it for today, Massive Montana. Big up on a nice clean self. Enough love, enough respect. Blessings upon blessings upon blessings. Positive vibrations going out to the Massive. I'm out of Massi. Magan.